the matchup with UCLA is one that we're really looking forward to. Ironically enough, we did see them before season actually started in a close scrimmage, so we're familiar with each other. We've played each other the last 3 years, really, when you look at that. So the players are very familiar with each other. They not only played against each other in maybe the summer circuit, some were at the USA trials this summer together, and then we've played them. So I think there are factors of this game that will come into play, which is that we know each other pretty well. And the other common denominator, I think, between the two teams is just that both teams have two seniors that have played at a really, really high level all year long. Great leaders and players that are playing with a sense of urgency that they don't want the season to end. So when you look at that, you start to think about X factors, role players that will probably come into play in this game and be significant factors because you expect the seniors to play the way they've played all year long. So it should be an interesting game. I think it'll be a very entertaining game.
What was the scrimmage like, Coach? Who came out with the victory?
It was a close scrimmage up in Colorado Springs, and we did some, team building and segments. So it wasn't necessarily a game that score was kept. Both teams played all their players. So again, not much you could take from that other than just some familiarity with personnel.
Was something that you've seen in the first two rounds that you're hoping carries over through the rest of the tournament?
Well, I definitely hope we continue to shoot the basketball at the rate that we're shooting it. 61% is not bad at all, and you don't expect to maybe shoot that high of a percentage. But I do think that we not only shot the ball well, I thought we executed well in the first two games, and I thought we showed a little more patience than what we had shown maybe in conference play down the stretch. So you'd like to continue that pace for sure.
4 straight Sweet 16s. What does that say about the state of the program?
I think probably the message is just that we're a consistently performing team now, and that when you start to talk about teams, or then when you start to talk about programs mean that you're going to be consistent. So I think Texas is a program that hopefully stays in the top 10 and continues to climb, but I definitely think we're at a level where I don't want to say that we're happy or content by any means, because you can't ever let yourself get to that place, but I'm very proud of where our program is at, and I personally think we're at an elite level now, and we continue to stay that way.
Another big factor in the first couple rounds is your bench came to play. Talk about the play of Mide and Shug and Jordan.
I thought our whole entire bench was great in the first two games, and it's going to have to continue to be that way as we go into the next round, just because of the way UCLA rebounds the ball and the fact that they have players that really have a post presence. It's going to take a lot of bodies to keep them off the board. So I'm very encouraged by our bench's performance. Again, you mentioned Mide and Jordan and Shug, but I think everybody I thought Jada Underwood gave us good minutes. So it's really been across the board. Even when you look back at the Big 12 tournament and the way we finished the season, I did think that we were getting some consistent play, in particular from Shug. I think to be able to get Jordan and Mide to come in and embrace what I think their role is right now for our team is huge for us.
Coach, before the tournament, you talked about possibly trimming the rotation, and that really hasn't happened yet. Has it surprised you at all how well the bench has played so far?
No, I'm not surprised at all. The main game we had a lead, so there was no reason for me to trim down the substitution pattern in that game. And then honestly, the foul trouble in the second round against Arizona State forced my hand, and luckily it did, because sometimes when you call someone's number, they're really ready, and I would say Mide was really ready against Arizona State, and those are flashes that we've seen in practice that she just hasn't been able to manufacture in a game as much as she did. And so I think to be able to put her in that setting has got to give her an enormous amount of confidence. And as we move forward, like I said, UCLA is a phenomenal rebounding team. So to feel really, really confident in those guys coming off the bench for us on Friday is huge.
Talk about the regional, getting a chance to go to Kansas City, kind of a Big 12 area with it being close to Kansas and Kansas State. Plus, She'll gets a chance to go back to Missouri.
She had all smiles and said she couldn't wait to go back home. So I know she'll have a crowd there. And you know, Zach is from right there, our strength coach. So I am anticipating some Texas flavor in the crowd. And I mean, obviously, it's a lot better than going to Albany. Or Spokane. So I definitely, when you looked at the regions, you had hope that we would go to Kansas City or Lexington just because the families can drive. I mean, most families can get in the car and make it to Kansas City. So I'm hoping that because it is Big 12 country, that if they decide to go and be neutral, then they'll pick Texas just because we're in the Big 12.